What's happening, guys? This is James Blonde bringing you yet another top list video, but this time this one comes directly from you guys in the forums. And now the topic is best open world PvP MMORPGs. And after reading the entire thread, I felt like sharing it with you guys and adding some of the games that I felt fit the category. The thread was started by a user named SharkyBait, looking for MMORPGs that incorporate open world PvP, specifically ones that have criminal systems that let you see how many noobs you can slaughter and basically put bounties on your head for the thrill of it. Well, that's one way to look at it. Now, right off the bat, some of the classic examples of these games are Dark Age of Camelot or Lineage 2. Many would say it's hard to find quality MMORPGs with open world PvP like that in modern MMOs, but those, I definitely think they have earned their place in the Hall of Fame already. So, when I read the original post, the first thing I thought was, wow, that sounds like Wizardry Online, where you can go around town killing people, kind of like you could in Ultima Online days, where players get killed, then get looted, even if you didn't kill them. But if you do kill players, then you get labeled as a criminal and can be attacked from anyone without any consequences to them. And the more you kill, the worse of a criminal will become, making your chance of survival in towns, at least, slim at best. But I'm not saying that Wizardry Online is the best game in the world by all means, but I could see it being fun to play specifically for that reason. In a game with permadeath, I can imagine that could be fun as well as pretty rough. And then that reminded me of a game that's set up very similar, Mortal Online. There are a lot of MMORPG players that swear by this game, and probably many more that swear at this game. But I get it, it was mentioned by a lot of users in this thread. It's a first-person sandbox, open-world MMORPG with permadeath like Ultima Online and Wizardry, except you can make things like clothes and weapons out of the flesh and bones of the noobs you kill. I get it. It's a thrill. With Mortal Online, Apocaruff says it best on the thread, and I quote, "It's a pretty great experience if you don't mind a bit of hardcore playing. This is a game where hard work can pay off, and when you die, you feel it, because everything you had is dropped on the ground for anyone to grab. You're not safe anywhere, not even in towns if the person killing you is smart and nimble enough." Now, on the other hand, the game doesn't have to be brutal and have permadeath to be considered hardcore. If you really want to talk hardcore, take a look at Perfect World. It has some of the most expensive gear upgrading of nearly any MMO around today. And with that being said, any red name player that doesn't have safety lock or a cash shop doll on their person has a chance to drop one of these said pieces of gear. And I'm not talking $10 pieces of gear, I'm talking about some of the most hardcore players' characters are geared upwards of $5,000. That's crazy, but then again, most people won't get themselves in that position, but the threat is there. Another one is Age of Wushu, or, well, let's say Age of Wulin for good measure. Either way, we're talking about open world PvP. The crime system in the game is interesting in that you kill players. It may give you a lot of reward depending on the player, but killing them without legitimate cause adds infamy, and it increases in levels depending on how bad you are. From this point, you do have to worry about bounties and incentive for other players to hunt you down. But also, if they do manage to find you and several others, they can apply to be a constable, making it their rewarded job to hunt down criminals. Otherwise, they may just put you in prison or on death row, depending on how much infamy you've managed to rack up. So you might be logging in just to sit in prison to do your time and clear your name. Like I said, it's an interesting system, but it's not for everyone. Not all the games with great open world PvP have criminal systems either. In the thread, a user named Queen Vu mentions Ion as a game that fits the category, and a lot of people actually really like Ion's open world PvP. And a user named Kogagi is right, and I quote, "I actually enjoyed Ion's open world PvP a lot with my friends back in the day. Even though it was a Zerg fest, you can still really contribute to your party members even when your gear isn't top notch." Now, pointing that out makes it seem like I feel that a game needs penalty to players who selectively kill other players without reason, but that's not the case. There are plenty of cases where zerging isn't a constant problem. Terra, for example, on world PvP servers gives players the freedom to come up and kill other players with no rhyme or reason, but the zerging and ganking seems to be in common areas that players who are worried tend to avoid. Now, I do think, from the perspective of true MMO role players, which isn't me, open world PvP can be misleading in games like Terra because it doesn't necessarily tie into the storyline, since all the races that you choose are fighting for the same cause. But that's why they have PvP servers. Players demand it, and it shows. Those servers are often very populated. Alright, so let's shift gears here for a minute. It does look like we might actually have some games in the not-so-distant future sporting the kind of open-world PvP players are into, and of course Arcade is one of them, like the username Zormax mentions in the thread. In Arcade, players can attack another player if they wish and can also steal crops that the player they killed raised. So it's got a little bit of a hardcore element to it, and since it's a sandbox MMORPG, I think that can actually be really fun. But similar to Age of Wushu or Wulin, there is a trial and jail system. The players who kill another player will be put on trial by other players and be judged whether or not the activity was reasonable or not. But that's really all we know about it, and hopefully the developers will have an overall good system that appeals to the majority of players' interests. Another one to look forward to is, of course, WildStar. It's already been announced that the game will feature both organized battleground style PvP and open world PvP. The server will determine what that means to you. You will encounter PvP on PvE servers, but it's in situations where you're on enemy territory attacking them, or you flag yourself for PvP on purpose. On the PvP servers, you won't have to worry about getting attacked at early levels, but later on, your only safe zone will be random sanctuaries. And if you do plan to gank other players, you get XP, which will help you in the leveling process, which is great and all. But once again, hopefully there aren't 200,000 assassins out there looking to farm XP off of noobs, and if there are, what systems will be put in effect to help regulate that? And that leaves me with a couple of questions for you guys. What type of PvP setups work best? What are some of the other good examples of great open world PvP setups in free-to-play games? I agree with the user from the thread named Powster. The Path of Exile Cutthroat League will be pretty epic when it rolls around for good. This particular league makes all of the world areas public, with PvP, and slain players drop all of their items as loot. Now I can't imagine playing that league combined with hardcore, but then again it's all based around what you like. Anyway guys, great topic in the thread, and hopefully you like this video. I posted a link to the original thread in the description below so you can get more community shared info about the best open world PvP games out there. There are plenty more I didn't get to mention. Until next time guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there gamers.